Oh my Lord. It is so curfew decision in 30 minutes. I think in order for me, I looked it up. While we were in the process of like looking at the curfew situation, I looked it up. I have to have a LAPD press pass potentially, and I can still get arrested even if I haven't for violating the curfew. So I guess they're doing mass arrests now for protesters. This is the result of kettling. They'll now single each one out and surround them and shove an arrest. No, I know. Yeah, they just point to people in the crowd. HSI pointing it with rounds.
Watching this since we've been on the air, that when a van moves up or comes into view,
all adults, from what I can see, except for those two teenagers that we saw walk away. But any other little items that they leave behind will be collected by officers. And
wait, that's a real ass dude. That's not like a fake gun. That's not like a less or not less round. That's just pointing a straight up AR into a crowd. What the
up or comes into view, that's when the crowd,
bro, this is on camera. What is happening?
Goes forward and tries to get closer to the federal building, and of course the vans get things.
What is he doing?
Okay, I don't know what this gentleman here is doing, but
well, and that's
what was that?
This is on a rooftop.
No, it's on a
that's what I
elevated platform, and that federal agent is pointing at somebody. That's
the guy in the yellow, I guess.
Yeah,
these two guys,
and you can see they're.
Bro, the dude in the yellow is taunting him with a M4. That is, dude, that is crazy.
They're kind of taunting each other. You saw that federal law enforcement agent, wave his hands like, let's go, let's go. And that guy in the yellow doing the same thing. I mean, something escalated quickly to point, munitions at that.
What? Dude, I hate the goddamn media, bro. The escalation is coming from the hopped up psychopath with a M4 that he's pointing at the civilian, dude. The unarmed civilian. Are you insane? The escalation is not coming from the ground. Media, figure it out. They're taunting each other. Like the asymmetry that I am experiencing, that I am seeing with my own two eyes is glaringly obvious. It is very strange. It is very strange to me that despite that asymmetry, the media is like, well, they're taunting one another after recognizing that that's an M4, that's rounds.
Person, that was intense there for a second. So I don't know what the conflict was with that person in the yellow, but that federal agent with the there was not having it. There's some fireworks now that we see going off too.
Maybe that's what that was about, but that can get even more dangerous when you're actually. We actually witnessed this. We saw him. You say that's a that's an actual. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's not good.
You can see the provocation happening right here, and then
there's some more tear gas.
Yeah.
And now what we've seen, we haven't seen it here, but what we saw a lot yesterday is the tear gas would get thrown, and the protesters would grab it and throw it back at the law enforcement officers. That happened to CHP a lot yesterday when they were trying to regain control over the freeway. So, but that hasn't happened here. Hopefully they'll, de-escalate this a little bit, but this guy on the left here, that agent on the left with the there, was not having whatever was going on.
No, it was pointed right at.
Look, he's, waving him over.
You wonder if those guys have on masks. When I say those guys, the agitators.
See, there he goes again, pointing it at him.
You think the problem here is the quote unquote agitators with masks? You take issue with protesters wearing masks and not the mask wearing federal law enforcement agents who are brandishing and training their sights on American citizens. I assume when she says the mask wearing agitators, she means the law enforcement, right? Am I living in like upside down world? What the f is happening? Is this bizarro world? Is this the alternative universe that we exist in where it's like up is down, wrong is right? Because without commentary, if you play this out on mute, without commentary, if you play this out on mute, this back and forth here, you're like, oh my God, a federal law enforcement agency officer who is masked is literally aiming an M4 directly at a Los Angeles citizen.
So I couldn't tell if that agitator did. I mean, certainly law enforcement does. That's been kind of the name of the game for them, and that's something that they say they need to do to protect themselves and their identities. A lot of the protesters did, and I don't, John, if we can see that guy.
Oh, this is Santa Ana. Yeah, this is in Santa Ana. This is not downtown. Well, regardless, it's insane. Like, what are the things that take precedent over human beings' lives at this point? Police feelings, police getting hit with like half-empty water bottles, like police getting hit with any water at all, police being spooked by loud noises.
Happy as fuck. So I just showed you him, right?
Filthy pigs just pegged a single woman trying to get home at nearly point blank range.
I want us to focus on this guy right there. Look at him. Trigger happy as fuck. So I just showed you him, right? Look at that. Oh, what's passing by? Where's our money going, right? Where are our tax dollars going, right? Right? Yeah. So we've got trigger happy bitch over here. Look at. They're telling her to move, but that's a public sidewalk. They're telling her to move. Watch if they her. Holy.
Protecting and serving the interests of citizens, right there.
Sit down. Where'd it get you? Stop! She's not doing anything. Come on. We're moving, assholes. You got it. Hang on. I just need to get.
Can they just do it like that? Pop their ass good? I hope your mother gets popped in the ass good in the same way when she's just walking down the street in a lawful manner. Maybe then you'll understand. Dumb. How can you look at the situation and be so cruel? Hey, see, it's a lawful response, right? Yeah, maybe you'll understand when it happens to you or your mom, okay?
Out of their sight. Here, I got some supplies in my bag. Sit down.
First of all, less lethals are not supposed to be directed at people's body, okay? The appropriate usage of less lethals is literally the ground. They're not supposed to be directed at someone's body. They're also not supposed to be used point blank. They're not supposed to be used at that distance at all. That literally hit the person. No ricochet, straight up, directly hit that person. Less lethals are at close distances. Less lethals are still at close distances. Less lethals can still be, if shot directly at the body.
They shot her. Yeah. Point blank. I literally just got it on video. They're gonna. We're moving! Moving! Stop! She's injured! Come on. We gotta get across the street. Come on. We gotta go across the street.
Tear gas is literally illegal to deploy in combat. Also super sick because these dumb fucks won't get charged, but she won't be able to succeed civilly against them due to qualified immunity. Fuck cops with the system. Yeah, it is a chemical and considered a war crime under the Geneva Convention. These types of health effects and injuries can vary depending on the being used. Tear gas and pepper spray types of chemical irritants can cause tearing, pain, and burning of the eyes, skin irritation, sore throat, sneezing, coughing, and vomiting. Long-term effects are less common, but can include asthma, wheezing, loss of vision, and even nerve or brain damage. These problems can occur if people are exposed to a large amount of these chemicals or they are sprayed in a closed space. 2014 study by the U.S. military has also found that exposure to tear gas and pepper spray make people vulnerable to respiratory infections in the week following exposure compared with the week before exposure.
They just literally shot her point blank. No, she's not okay. Yeah, try right here, and let me just look at it, unless you want to go inside. Okay. Holy, you guys. Okay. Here.
No, it's not fireworks, man. Also, contrary to whatever the media might suggest, fireworks are a greater danger to the person that's actually lighting them on fire rather than the direction it's launched in, as opposed to, I mean, I guess depending on the type of firework, as opposed to a flashbang grenade or tear gas is infinitely more dangerous than a firework. Lies? You think tear gas or flashbang grenades, like incendiary explosive devices, are not more dangerous than like a Roman candle? What are you talking about? Come on, fireworks are literal. Stop lying. Yes, they're literal that are more dangerous to the person that's lighting the fuse. Flashbangs, on the other hand, are deployed as an incendiary explosive, which is created specifically so that it doesn't explode when you're tossing it. Flashbangs are literal You're comparing like Roman candles and shit or sparklers that people have to a literal grenade. The most dangerous point of a firework is at the point of lighting it on fire. My point is that if you have an issue with like Roman candles and sparklers and shit, okay, if you consider that to be a risk, then you should be losing your mind about tear gas. Just like if you think closing off roads is really up and unjustifiable, you should be losing your mind at the road closures that police implement. Because when citizens do road closures, they're doing it to protest against the government. When cops do road closures, they're doing it to create a staging ground to beat the out of citizens. The press, legal representatives, field medics, nurses, teachers, the elderly. Destroying your own community while waving a flag for the country you don't want to go back to. ISIS is horrible. I don't agree with them, but what is this solving? Why are you such a coward, dude? Why are you such a goddamn... Okay? Why are you such a... You ginormous bitch? Just say it with your chest. You don't give a about what ICE is doing. Because if you gave a fuck about what ICE was doing, you would understand that that is infinitely worse overall than people waving a flag of their heritage. You don't give a... What is this? What is this moral posturing? Who are you trying to fool? Are you trying to fool yourself? Are you saying to yourself that maybe if I say these words out loud, the 48,000 people that are in this community will also believe me? That I do care about the people that are being fucking kidnapped? You don't. Like, and then you make shit up. You're like, Molotov cocktails being thrown at the police is such a bad look. I agree with the protests, but the optics are horrible. Why can't people protest without destroying their community? The cops are the ones destroying the fucking community, jackass. And they're doing it with our fucking taxpayer dollars. We fund them. We give them their salaries, their pension program. We give them the fucking weapons that they train on us. How the fuck do you not understand that? The thing that he's saying was a Molotov cocktail was literally a fucking tear gas canister that didn't deploy properly and is incendiary, so it fucking lit on fire, and the guy kicked it over in the direction of the cops away from the fucking dry brush and the buildings, and then got his ass beat and stomped on. Also, this was a very funny thing that took place as well. The New York Post reporter shot in the forehead with rubber bullets while covering the LA riots. Now, obviously, it's not funny to shoot a fucking New York Post reporter in the head. That's not the funny part. The funny part is New York Post, literally an article prior to this, okay, had coverage over another fucking protester getting shot point blank. And the comments and New York Post's own commentary on it was hilarious. They're like, oh, it's so funny. It's so funny that like the cops are actually shooting these fucking little freaks. And then they covered this story when their own fucking reporter got shot in the fucking forehead. They had to shut off the comments on that one. I wonder why they had to shut off the comments on their own fucking article when it was their own reporter that got shot in the head. Wow, it feels like the cops don't make a distinction between who's a protester, who's actually doing violent acts, or who's a protester who's simply protesting, or even who's a fucking member of the press. Interesting. Even then, they don't fucking say who shot them. It's obvious who shot them. You see it in the fucking sights. Look, is no one going to talk about the fact that that was one hell of a shot? There are laws against targeting press. Former police officer, never once was I taught shoot the press during my riot control class. Just FYI for y'all. If anyone had any doubt that the Australian reporter, this should make it obvious. They're targeting the press. Freedom of press is a right, not a privilege. That shot was crazy, not gonna lie. He even caught the fucking sniper glare on his camera. Like, that's crazy. You should make a Substack or something to consolidate arguments and sources in one place. Yeah, it's called My Stream. Makes the scope glint you were seeing yesterday even more scary. Yeah, I will tell you right now, when you see the fucking scope glint, it's terrifying. And I saw it on multiple occasions with the fucking Los Angeles Sheriff's Department freaks at the front line, and then also with the federal agents that were above the building, the lens flare or whatever the fuck it's called. Representatives are now being indicted for anti-ICE behavior. The Democrat Party impeached Trump because he delayed weapon shipments to Ukraine by a day, but not over him sending U.S. military troops onto the streets of Los Angeles to put down anti-ICE protests. I mean, it's not wrong. Obviously, the real reason why they fucking impeached him is because he was doing something unconstitutional, which is to use previously ordained weapons transfers that the Congress had approved in an effort to get dirt on his like upcoming political opponent, which is still fucked up and worthy of impeachment. Make no mistake. It's so crazy that when you look at that in the rearview mirror, by the way, it seems like it was a lifetime ago and no one even thinks about that shit. Yeah, watching the KABC live stream in Los Angeles, and it looks like the cops just shot a photographer that was filming on a roof. It's a cop riot, dude. I told this earlier today. National Guard troops are now protecting ICE agents as they make arrests in LA. I told you. They're going to say that ICE agents are federal law enforcement officers, which is true, they are, and that it is necessary for ICE agents to be protected. That's why they deployed the National Guard, so that they have extra arms and extra hands when they're doing these additional arrests. I think it's crazy. What if these fucking guys actually end up, troops providing security for ICE in LA. What if these guys, when there's like any sort of response, any sort of fucking reaction to this provocation, they have lethal weapons, chat. Look, like this isn't riot control, okay? This isn't like crowd control. This isn't like, these are M4s. They got lethal weapons. LA is full of dangerous criminals, but not a single cop has been shot. Love to see how they justify this. I mean, there's no justification. It doesn't matter. People were ready to complain about fucking Mexican flags, dude. You think people who are complaining about Mexican flags give a shit about anything? Anything at all? Yeah, they're fucking, all the people that they arrested, they're putting on buses. They're going to detain them for a day and then release them, obviously. But this was a process that was conducted by Joe Brandon, famously, and his administration against pro-Palestine demonstrators. It is a measure that these people, that the law enforcement takes on specifically to create a chilling effect on speech and demonstrations. The reason why they're doing this is because they're saying basically, hey, we have the power to arrest you. We have the power to detain you. We have the power to fucking book you. And even if we release you the next day, it's over for the day. And you'll think twice before demonstrating again. What? Marines are reportedly refusing to take orders? No, I don't fucking believe that shit. That seems so... Dude, really? Really? Shockwave streams? Jordan Allen Bailey, Catholic, married, father of 7, registered nurse, Irish, lover of Guinness and Irish whiskey. This is your source? Like you sitting at home? You're right, chatter. I'm famously not participating in these demonstrations at all. Every single day that I go out, these motherfuckers are like, he's LARPing. Also, if he's not LARPing, he's actually on the front lines. Okay, then he should be arrested. Now that I'm covering it from the... now that I'm... It's interesting because it's like when I go out, when Marsh and I go out, we are extra careful not to fucking do anything that could provoke a response from law enforcement. And we don't do anything illegal. It's all on the fucking record. It's all on camera. I'm on camera the entire fucking time.
That police are starting to
but that doesn't stop cops from shooting at me.
Maybe indicates to people who are intent on causing problems that
people's will to protest. It doesn't work that way. This kind of reaction and retaliation only invites more. This kind of provocation only invites more of a response. The only thing that's stopping from large crowds from going out and taking to the streets right now is that it's a fucking work day. That's it. This is exactly what happened with the fucking pro-Palestinian demonstrations too. The only reason why they stopped is because of summer.
We've seen today.
Chatters, yes, they will throw out the fucking charges for all the people that were arrested. They usually always do that. It's not about like actually keeping them in holding. Okay, it's not about keeping them in holding. It's about actually getting them to stop protesting for the day. That's the point.
Obey that dispersal order. About 40 to 50 of them were taken into custody. This crowd remains, and this is what we're dealing with right now. It's not a large crowd. It's been peaceful for the most part, but I can tell you that different people are coming from all sorts of directions. And I want to show you.
Yeah, I should maybe worry about the optics of kidnapping children, but I'm told optics are only for people protesting the kidnapping of children. Breaking. Federal agents in plainclothes and unmarked cars tried to snatch first graders from LA elementary schools, told staff that they had parental consent. They lied. When pressed, they hid their IDs. Department of Homeland Security admits they sent them. This was a test run for a police state. Think about how fucking insane that is.
After an unusual and disturbing visit, several federal agents from the Department of Homeland Security showed up at 2 elementary schools this week demanding to talk to students. What happened next has Superintendent Alberto Carvalho praising school workers and demanding answers. Eyewitness News reporter
Bro, they try to kidnap children, okay? They try to kidnap school children, like first graders and shit. What are we talking about, man? Yeah, the pedophile-ruled U.S. government is kidnapping children in broad daylight, but the deep state Republicans don't have a problem with it because the one doing it is a pedophile they like. And also, a lot of them are also pedophiles themselves. Pedocon is a theory only as far as like the theory of gravity is a theory, okay? Pedocon is a reality. These motherfuckers are all pedophiles, dude. Republicans, the overwhelming majority. Holy fuck, every single Republican politician. Oh my lord, dude. Oh my fucking lord. How many of them have to be outed as sex pests and pedophiles? It has already started. The protests are starting all around the country, in New York as well. By Saturday, this shit is going to be a biblical sized protest because all the liberals are going to come out on Saturday as well. These are the people that are out on the streets right now. They're people just like you. They're nurses, they're teachers, they're doctors. We saw people from all different walks of life on the protests when we were out there. Okay? But also on Saturday, there is a libbed up version of the protest. So that is going to bring all of the wine moms, the Deborahs, the Barbaras, the Hanks, everyone and their mothers are going to be out. We will also be out, obviously.
Decision coming any moment. Clear that the mayor of Los Angeles supports it. We've got live pictures of protesters in New York and Chicago filling the streets. In fact, new video just into out front of a car in Chicago moving through a protest. It appeared to push a few.
This happened yesterday as well. We filmed this in LA too.
Sign holders there in the protest in Chicago before then speeding away. So unclear exactly what we were seeing there. Also, large protests underway in New York City, protesting Trump's deportations and the use of ICE officers with those ICE raids. Shimon Prokupez is out front in New York City. Whitney Wild is out front in Chicago. I want to begin, though, with you, Shimon, in New York. And what are you seeing there?
Aaron, one of the largest protests that this city has seen in quite some time. This protest has stretched for blocks from each side of the avenues, from 6th Avenue. We're now on Hudson Street, and we've been going for about nearly 2 hours, and you can see people are holding signs saying ICE out of New York City. We've seen flags of Mexico, we've seen the Palestinian flag, and really just a convergence of different issues and different concerns that people here in New York City have. Also,
my worry is that there's going to be counter protesters. There's immediately in New York, there's counter protesters. This reminds me of that one fucking kid who in New York, there were a bunch of people who were protesting outside of an ICE facility in New York. And this kid walked up to them and started talking to them about fucking Palestine and shit. And the guys were like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? This is an ICE facility. We're protesting fucking ICE kidnappings. And he's like, I don't know. I saw people with keffiyehs. So I got excited. And of course, there they are, the counter protesters. Oh, the optics of different flags, man. The optics of foreign flags. Fucking loser. Please join us. Thank you, Donna Andrea, for making a flyer and arranging. Counter protest. There's only one solution: deportation revolution. Oh, God, they're so fucking lame. They're so goddamn lame. And urge the removal of non-citizens. Amazing community note. Representative Jordan has an Israeli flag outside of his office door. This is a message, not a flag. No, that's not a foreign flag, man. That's another state. That's like having a state flag, you know? Jim Jordan's simply putting his own What the fuck?
Like they were doing specific drills on crowd control. President Trump sent them yesterday to help the California National Guard with the LA protests. Eyewitness News reporter Rob McMillan live in Seal Beach with more on
Oh my God, the dumbest fucking crayon eating hogs, dude. Oh my Lord, it is so fucked. Curfew decision in 30 minutes. I think in order for me, I looked it up. While we were in the process of like looking at the curfew situation, I looked it up. I have to have a LAPD press pass potentially, and I can still get arrested even if I haven't for violating the curfew. If I were to go to the area, she's most likely going to put forward a limited curfew in certain parts of downtown Los Angeles. I'm trying to see if I'm trying to see how I can get potentially credentialed. Okay, it's not worth the slop. It's not slop. Do you know who coined the term burger Reich? Yeah, me. I did. Why? Are other people outside of this community finally fucking using it? No, I don't think Matt Christman said burger Reich. Wait, was it Matt Christman? Did Matt Christman also say it? No, I think he said something different. No, Matt Christman coined treatlerites and the treats theory. He might have been, to be fair. I mean, he's brilliant. He's infinitely smarter than me. Yeah, Matt Christman came up with the grill pill. He came up with on MSNBC with Chris Hayes right now. HasanAbi head Chris Hayes is interviewing the Los Angeles mayor.
In the beginning, this was going to be gang members, violent criminals, drug dealers.
I'm so fucking fed up with law enforcement. I can feel my blood pressure rising. I never thought I would be in this chat supporting you, but over the last 4 months, I've been watching you a lot through people who hate you, but I found myself consistently being like, this is the most disingenuous way of interpreting your view on things. The hate watchers unironically made me a fan of yours. Hell yeah. Welcome to the fight. There are many people like you in here. Trust me. Yeah. Hate watchers, hate watchers that come in from other communities indirectly create a pipeline to my commentary because I'm so fucking consistently right about what I say is going to happen that inevitably people go, okay, well, he was right about this, and the dude who was yelling about his position was wrong. Sometimes it happens in real time, like that Hutch video that we watched, which is really funny, obviously. But usually it takes, you know, a decent amount of time, a couple months. There were hella people at the fucking protest that were saying that too. If you know anything about the use of force cards given the troops deployed to Los Angeles, text me securely via Signal at 202-510-12. If you know anything about the use of force cards, this is just a sample, just one example of the use of force cards that normally are given out. Listen. Maybe you're, maybe you know somebody who knows somebody. I don't know. But you can send this. Oh. Sheriff's is the standard pass that's mostly used. Unfortunately, it takes some time for their turnaround. Here's the application. This is the LAPD one. Okay. I'm getting information on how to also fill a Los Angeles Sheriff's Department and a Los Angeles Police Department press clearance. Not that it fucking stops the cops from still, you know, deploying tear gas on me or even arresting me potentially for violating a curfew, but I'm trying to make sure that we do this in the best possible way. So I'm working on getting that clearance so I can maybe navigate a little bit easier. You might want to dress differently. What are these cards for? I assume Ken suspects that Lady Tony, thank you for the 50 gifted subs. I assume Ken suspects that these are going to be handed out for rules of engagement for all of the troops that are being deployed, you know? Wear the nurse uniform. Yeah, I'm not wearing a fucking MAGA hat. Here's the other thing, by the way. Murat, don't do that. Here's the other thing I wanted to show you guys. Remember that like Mormon guy, that fucking right-wing influencer? The right-wing influencer that like will go around and ask like silly ass questions to people in an effort to like belittle them and stuff. Nick Shirley, yeah. He had a not so pleasant interaction with some protesters and he posted it. He's been going all around and going on a fucking tear with this, like, yeah, here. Anti-ICE protesters in LA try to rob me and kick me out of their streets. Also, he misspelled there, just so you understand how fucking stupid he is. Now, look at the interaction that I had. Match the interaction that I had with every single person that was at these protests versus this guy.
He's a fucking white nationalist. Fuck this guy. You're not a fucking bitch. Don't touch the camera. Fucking bitch. I know. Hey. I don't do anything. Get the fuck out of here. I know you fucking do.
What's up? Well, I mean, I was around these dudes the whole day. It's just like, is just so crazy. It's just so wild. There is obviously there's a reason for it, you know? Because these guys literally go and antagonize the protesters and try to fucking actually film people without their consent, film people doing like things that might not be legal, you know, that sort of shit. Clip chimp them IRL.
Motherfucker. I know who the fuck you are, you fucking Republican bitch.
Bro, you don't need to put. This is one of them. They're gonna get it.
I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna fucking tell it to his fucking face. You fucking little faggot.
What did I do?
You know what the fuck you do?
What did I do?
You know you fucking antagonize people? Oh, fuck your fucking bitch ass up.
I'm not doing anything.
Get the fuck out of here. Just like the cops, get the fuck out of here.
Hey, I have a right to be here just like you.
Yeah, so do we, motherfucker.
Okay, I'm not.
The cops here. You're a fucking cop. That's what you
I'm
fucking
not
are.
a cop.
Yeah, you are. You fucking
How am I a
asshole.
cop?
You want to fucking...
He's one of those Diet Tyler Oliveira types. Yeah, full video. Los Angeles is fallen. Rioters are taking over the streets. Rioters are throwing bricks at cops. Organized groups are planning attacks. All this shit.
Like
Mexico flags of the LA protests. Like, that's what he's doing. He's like, and also he's getting 500 fucking likes on this shit too. Like, he's trying to cut as much as he can. He got into a Channel 5 interview here as well. LA protester believes the U.S. belongs to Mexico. This is our city and this was Mexico. It's correct, by the way. Yes. It used to be Mexico. That's not an incorrect statement. But of course, you don't know that, and therefore, it doesn't matter. LA protesters threaten to dox law enforcement. Oh no, public servants. Yeah, also, this is his full video going into CCOT. He went into fucking El Salvador. Why do you support giving Cali back to Mexico as if Spain has a claim to America? As a California resident, I unconditionally and firmly offer my full support as a legal California tax-paying, natural-born U.S. citizen resident that pays a fuck ton more in taxes than you ever will in your entire life. Believe that California should be rightfully under the protectorate of Claudia Sheinbaum and the Morena Party. That is right. CalExit. Hashtag CalExit. Hashtag Claudia Sheinbaum. Hashtag my queen. That is exactly what I want. That's called democracy. Okay, we are democratically being annexed by the wonderful, glorious state of Mexico. Send in the Mexican National Guard now. Save us. Liberate us. Liberate us. Claudia Sheinbaum. I will gladly become a second-class citizen under the protectorate of Claudia Sheinbaum. And maybe even get harassed for not knowing Spanish. It's fine. I'll learn, okay? I'll go from no hablo español to yo hablo español. Si hablo español. Yeah. No mames way. Oh my God. Wait, is that the fucking guy? In Irvine, California, ICE agents drove a phalanx of military vehicles to arrest a person, though not for illegal immigration. They were seeking a resident's son who allegedly posted flyers alerting neighbors to the presence of ICE agents. Oh, I hate these fucking pieces of shit. Never seen you simp so hard. Chinga la migra. I'm also fine with turning California into a forward operating base under the protectorate of Xi Jinping. That's another thing that I'm on board with as well. If it's not Claudia Sheinbaum, then Xi Jinping also I will democratically vote for. I don't know Mandarin either, but I am willing to learn. Seeing all the smart people rush to scold us and say these massive civil rights protests are a bad idea because 2020 protesters helped Trump. Anyways, I wonder who won the election that year. There were 8 straight months of protests before the election. While they weren't necessarily to help Democrats, Biden won. The idea that the protests, which influenced public opinion in a leftward manner, helped Trump isn't only absurd, it's gaslighting to the highest degree. This is a problem with the establishment. They don't see politics as a practice of changing minds or public opinion, as something the people can lead. They want to maintain total control on opinion, keep it to the least imaginative ambition, and gaslight you for calling it out. If you disagree with the goals of the protest, say that. Don't make some meta argument about how the public will feel about the protest. You're part of the public. Stop trying to be the boss of what the public does or does not get to feel. Sick of this completely cynical shtick. Exactly. My thoughts exactly. I hate this fucking stupid ass song and dance that everybody entertains, that everybody must play, where it's like, oh, well, you know, I like the energy. I just don't like that you're protesting in a way that I don't think is the best way to protest. And like, it's not even me. I'm not even mad. I just think that other people might get mad. And it's like, no, you also don't like the protests. You don't like that there's any protest whatsoever, because you would much rather behave as though you have the morally consistent pro-immigrant framework, because obviously openly recognizing that you don't have that holy fuck, that has 38,000 likes. Bro, the tide is shifting. The tide is shifting. The tide is shifting. The tide is shifting against these fucking reactionary charlatans. I swear to God. Even on Twitter, oh my God. It was before I retweeted it. People who think protesting is bad are anti-American. It's not that they think the protesting is bad. I'm sure there's like things that they would be on board to protest, but they would probably be like modest tax cuts for small businesses or some shit. Okay? They wouldn't necessarily be... They would be modest tax cuts for small businesses. That's what they would protest for. Okay? Nothing else. That Hutch clip is peak. I know. Shouldn't everyone who cares about advocating for what they think is the best way to protest? I'm struggling to grasp the argument being made. Be okay with people protesting in less than ideal ways? Yes, that's unironically what I'm saying. Be okay with people protesting in less than ideal ways. That is precisely what I'm saying. Yes. Can I make it more clear? The reason why I say this is because if you understand the dynamic of state violence and different forms of structural violence, you understand that nothing the protesters have done so far, or nothing the protesters can really do, would ever meet the standard of violence of the state. This is precisely why there is a major asymmetry between the types of violence that the cops get to do, or the types of actions that the cops get to take, versus the protesters. The protesters are people like you. They're citizens. They're not an alien force, okay? They're citizens that come from different backgrounds, that come from different demographics, that are, you know, sometimes Mexican-American, Argentinian-American, Guatemalan-American, okay? They're just like you. And they're protesting, which is, of course, perhaps one of the most American things that they can do. And when they are protesting overwhelmingly peacefully, the alternative on the other side, the escalation, almost always comes from the police. The police are the ones who deliberately provoke, deliberately anger. So if you ask this question like, oh, why are people not talking about the best ways to protest? There are good ways to protest. Okay? Setting up mutual aid. Ensuring that people have proper protective gear. Masks. Okay? Ear protection. Eye protection. And distributing said necessary items to the protesters. All of that stuff is fantastic. And that is appropriate in terms of talking about like how to best protest. Criticizing the protesters waving Mexican flags is not an appropriate criticism of the protest at all. Hyper-focusing on the limited amount of violence in response to the provocations from the cops, and violence that is marginal and that would never reach the standard of the state, are ridiculous criticisms of the protest, oftentimes dished out by people who have no interest in the protest whatsoever, but instead, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I was just confused by what people think is constructive criticism. That equals you don't really care, you know? Yeah, I don't care. And I'm very open about not caring about this. Because once again, people make a mountain out of a molehill out of the tiny infractions that happen in a decentralized grassroots movement that is an uncontrollable force for the most part. Okay? Meanwhile, you have a systematized form of violence in policing, in riot control, in what they consider to be crowd control. Okay? That is directed violence at the taxpayers who pay their salaries, who pay their fucking weapons, who pay for their gear. That is not the best use of funds whatsoever. So when there is spontaneous bouts of retaliation, or when someone goes in and does something that I think is not good at all and dangerous, like burning a fucking Waymo in the middle of a crowded street, I'm not going to focus on that too much. Because ultimately, I think I would be incredibly hypocritical to hyper-focus on a fucking burned Waymo when literally 100 meters away from that burned Waymo are people being burned with chemical weapons that are being deployed on them by the police force. That, I think, is infinitely more damaging than the bottom line of Google-owned Waymo. Okay? Yes, the best response to people pointing out imperfect protesting would be to point out that the police are shooting people in the head with rubber bullets. That's why I always redirect people's attention back to who actually is the real vector of harm here. Okay? Like, people talk about civilians stopping traffic for a short period of time in an effort to protest against ICE kidnapping their neighbors. Okay? ICE kidnapping their neighbors is the inflection point. It is an unjustifiable act of violence, serialized, systematized, and legalized by the state. It, of course, invites a reaction. It provokes people. It's understandable reaction to unjustifiable detentions. Okay? Now, in the process of that reaction, the police also block traffic for a lot longer than the citizens do. They block traffic for the rest of the night, as a matter of fact. And the reasons for why they block traffic is very different. Citizens block traffic to protest, okay, in a peaceful manner. It's a nuisance, sure, but it's ultimately a peaceful demonstration. Police block traffic to create a staging ground so that they can use said staging ground to continue brutalizing the citizens. But people never actually get mad about the police breaking shit or the police actually stopping traffic, okay? That's it. If you care about property damage, there are plenty of instances where cops are fucking deploying incendiary explosive devices in a crowded neighborhood, lighting shit on fire. Okay? Yeah, this protest is very safe, lol. This protest is very safe, actually. Like, it has been. Most protests are. The overwhelming majority of protests are safe until cops decide to escalate. Because people don't operate with violent intention. They don't want to fight cops. Cops have gear. Cops have lethal weapons. Cops have less lethal weapons that they actively use. They have chemical weapons they use on crowds as a mechanism of dispersal. Why the fuck would anybody do that? You think people just have a death wish? No. People only do that because they're there and the cops use it on them, and then they understandably get angry and throw things back at the fucking riot police in response. Oftentimes it's just a bottle of water, which is nothing, right? It's nothing. When you got fucking full tilt, like you got armor on, a bottle of water is nothing. Sometimes it might even be a fucking rock. But if you get angry at a bottle of water being thrown at cops, then you should be unimaginably angry. Unimaginably angry at the unconscionable violence that's coming from cops that are armed, that are heavily militarized, that are throwing incendiary explosive devices into a crowd of unarmed people. They shoot you with rubber bullets and pepper bags from a distance that could easily kill you. Think about that. This is the reason why I don't spend a crazy amount of time hyper-focusing on policing the protesters, because I think that is ultimately frivolous, it's ultimately unproductive, and it's most often deployed by people who have no interest in supporting these protesters whatsoever and are simply looking for a moral out to say, yeah, I was with the cause until I saw them wave non-American flags, or yeah, I was with the cause until I saw them, I don't know, fucking one guy in a crowd of like thousands throw a fucking water bottle at a cop. But I also think that the violence that came before and after that is totally fucking valid when it's coming from the police. People only see protests through the lens of cops being the good guys holding order in retaliation of Western states, mainly the US and EU. Just imagine this. Not even the EU. Americans love watching French protest videos where dudes will just straight up duke it out in hand-to-hand combat with police. But when I once famously said, the more violence that you can do in self-defense to police, the more civilized the country is, people clipped that and lost their minds over it. The more you can engage in self-defense, the more there's parity between a police officer and a regular citizen, the more modern and the more civil a society truly is. Americans literally lose their minds at hearing that. That when they hear that, they go, what the fuck are you saying? That is the most insane thing I've ever heard in my entire fucking life. It's not even in their Like, it's not even something that they can comprehend. The average American unironically believes that if a police officer's feelings are hurt, they should be able to kill you on the spot. It's crazy to me. They're people, right? Aren't they supposed to be people? They're not like a naturally occurring phenomena. Fucking gray bars again. I need to fix these alerts, man. I might have to revamp my whole shtick, do a full-blown overhaul. Ironically, oh, LA has officially will enact curfew for parts of downtown Los Angeles, according to CNN. Even though I'm literally watching CNN right now and I don't see them saying that there will be a curfew. Yeah, what's funny about this, of course, is that it is the exact same sentiment behind the Second Amendment, which is why Republicans who believe in the Second Amendment, my Second Amendment is there to protect the First, that type of shit, are also the biggest bootlickers ever known to man. They just want to have their fucking toys. They want to have their toys and they want to be able to use it on like unsuspecting individuals who actually didn't do any crimes whatsoever, but simply were a nuisance to them. That's it. They're fucking LARPers. They're fetishes. The average unarmed protester, the average queer English major unarmed protester with a septum ring and purple hair in Los Angeles that's out in the streets right now getting fucking peppered and getting tear gassed is infinitely braver than the biggest fucking Navy gravy seal, okay? The most like hopped up on steroids gravy seal motherfucker with arsenal of weapons. That person's got no protection and they're still out there non-binary, being all queer and purple haired and with a septum ring and duking it out with the fucking cops with no protection whatsoever. Go ahead, tell me that person is tell me that person isn't brave. Anyway, does that mean that you like the wokes now? I mean, if we're being fucking honest about it, there's never been a moment where woke went away. I've been keeping it very much alive here. People seemingly never let me live that down. What the fuck? Oh, remove paywall. LA police counter protesters. As LA police counter protesters, Trump doubles National Guard deployment. Officials contrast legitimate LA protesters with those looking for an opportunity to create chaos. 11 minutes ago. Wait, where's the... What we're seeing in Los Angeles goes far beyond Trump's calls for deporting criminals as a step towards authoritarianism and start democracy at crossroads. Watch live at 6:30 p.m. Tonight, Governor Newsom's address, Democracy at Crossroads. Why the fuck's he promoting this, dude? Like he's... When are you going to be arrested, Hasan? I don't know. Wouldn't you like that? Again, a pathetic and weak person who's like, I think you're a nuisance and I have no self-control and I can't just like click away from your stream. So I'm hoping that the fucking government takes care of you. Like how weak-minded, how much of a fucking worm-like individual are you? You know? How much of a fucking cowardly worm-like individual are you? Most likely spending years talking about how much you are a defender of free speech, only to turn around and be like, actually, I've decided speech that I don't like should be met with criminal penalties. At least the hysterical SJW archetype that you fucking yelled about for years and years that you fantasized as like making, fantasized as made video game titties smaller or whatever, actually has a morally righteous position. Maybe they're not the best on camera. Maybe they come across as kind of fucking annoying, but ultimately they are on the morally correct side and they believe what they're saying. You, on the other hand, are pathetic. You have no discernible position. You're simply a pathetic worm who complained about SJWs only to fucking turn around and demand that people you don't like get arrested. At least SJWs were just simply like censoring, I don't know, not censoring, but like trying to fucking change art. It was annoying and I didn't like it either. But you want motherfuckers to get arrested.
Downtown LA, the graffiti is everywhere and has caused significant damages to businesses and a number of properties.
Please.
So my message to you is, if you do not live or work in downtown LA, avoid the area. Law enforcement will arrest individuals who break the curfew and you will be prosecuted. Hundreds of officers from police and sheriff departments from across the region and state are working alongside LAPD through a unified command structure. The curfew will be in place tonight from 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. I want to thank the governor for his partnership and especially thank our state and local leaders and deputies, officers and deputies who are working tirelessly. So curfew guidance. Again, it will begin at 8 p.m. tonight and go until 6 a.m. tomorrow. I will consult with elected leaders and law enforcement officials tomorrow on the continuation of the curfew, but we certainly expect for it to last for several days. The curfew area will be between the 5 freeway and to the 110 and the 10 freeway to where the 110 freeway and 5 freeway merge. You look at the map and you can see that the city of Los Angeles is a massive area, 502 square miles. The area.
We urge all Angelenos to cooperate with these public safety
Wait, you said, oh, I can't wait to see what Republicans say about the citywide curfews imposed. They're going to love it. They're like, I hope they kill people that violate the curfew.
Let me introduce now the councilwoman who...
Journalists, you cannot be cited for curfew violations while out reporting tonight. That's what I thought too, but they're saying credentialed media reporter, so I'm trying to see if I can get the credentials.
Today, not just as the council member who represents downtown LA, but
by the way, getting credentialed doesn't mean that you can fucking still report. They can still arrest you, okay?
Los Angeles began right here.
Yeah. Republicans be like, bring in the FEMA coffins too. Put them in a FEMA camp. And then kill them.
A place with rich culture and deep community.
Kill them in the FEMA
camps. Where
camps.
workers clock in before sunrise and small business owners know their customers by name.
People are saying PSL
where
are
neighbors
feds.
greet each other on the sidewalk and where generations of families have built lives, shared stories, made memories together side by side. It's one of the most vibrant and resilient and hopeful parts of our city. But too often, downtown LA is treated like a backdrop for major events, not the living, breathing community it is. And right now, it's hurting.
What?
I am deeply proud that downtown has always been the place where Angelina...
They're saying PSL are feds because I hate to bring this up in public, but I'm left with no choice. We had a conversation yesterday with some PSL leads about this action, how micro-organizers in the DMV were not consulted on this. We flagged that Columbia Heights is a densely populated immigrant community, and this rally will bring ICE and a bunch of cops. They also mentioned they do not have a safety plan if there are mass arrests. I understand the need for mass mobilization, but when your local migrant organizer is telling you not to do this action, or you're not listening? Yeah, I don't think PSL are feds. Everybody stop fucking crying and saying CIA alert. PSL is Party for Socialism and Liberation. And no, I don't fucking agree with this at all. I don't agree with this statement at all. I'm not entirely familiar with fucking Columbia Heights, so I can't speak on it, but I don't... They're not fucking feds. Alex is the one who I was asking for help with the sheriff's department. Press credentials. LA Mayor Karen Bass announces curfew for 1 square mile of downtown Los Angeles tonight from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. She's declared a local emergency in this area where we've seen the worst violence. The worst violence. Man, the violence has been so crazy. As someone from the area, they aren't feds, but it's a bad idea in that area. I mean, here's the thing. In this migrant community, when PSL puts out a fucking call like that, the expectation is not for undocumented migrants to attend the protest. The expectation is for privileged people who have documentation to attend the protest, to do a big demonstration and a show of force. Obviously, if you are undocumented, you should not be anywhere near a protest like this. I don't personally think it's that bad of an... Like, they're saying, oh, this will invite ICE into this community. The notion that, like, ICE is not aware of this massive fucking Latino community is crazy. Yeah, Bass said the curfew will last several days. I know. This is why I'm trying to fucking figure out what I can do. I also suspect that this is to specifically pack up anyone that wants to continue demonstrations at night. The event was packed here in ATL and was mostly non-white people. I noticed as a white guy. Also, the fellow Hasan viewer I met was a black woman, for the record. Okay, I don't know why you had to specify that. This is a very diverse community, as we know from all the people that showed up. Gruesome Newsom is going to be speaking in 30 minutes. We'll obviously be tuning into that. I live in downtown LA, but happen to be out of town. Won't be back till 17th. How will this curfew impact local residents? First of all, the curfew will be gone by then. Because if the curfew is still implemented by the 17th, we have way bigger problems than the fucking curfew. And secondly, no, of course, if you're residential, you're fine. Your freedom of movement will be a little restricted. Cops might fucking harass you. They might annoy you. Oftentimes, this is what happens when they implement citywide curfews like this, is like, it's not actually the protesters that get fucked over. It's literally the residents that get fucked over because they will unceremoniously detain you for no reason. Governor Newsom to address the nation in less than 30 minutes. Midas Touch got the YouTube exclusive to stream it. Oh, Midas Touch. What is this? I think ICE provoked this whole thing in LA. Stop. Why do you purposely show me bad takes? Why? Why do you purposely show me fucking bad takes? It's just going to hurt my feelings. It's going to make me mad. I've already addressed all of the takes that needed to be addressed a million times over today. Why the fuck do you have to turn around and show me more additional bad takes? Newsom's position is that ICE officers should be able to carry out enforcement operations. Law enforcement should be able to handle unruly protests, and the rest of us should be free to live in a city that isn't heavily militarized for no reason. Stevens' position is that we should use the U.S. military to arrest and detain anyone he suspects may be undocumented, even if they're not. No, I don't think ICE officers should be able to carry out enforcement operations. No, fuck that. This was retweeted by Governor Gavin Newsom. Yeah, Governor Newscum and Mayor Karen Ass. Believe it, folks. Mayor Karen Ass. She's so ass. No, I do not think ICE should be fucking operating inside of California at all. I don't think I should operate at all. Here's what I think. I think if someone is in the country illegally and they do a fucking crime, then obviously local law enforcement is going to apprehend them and prosecute them. Okay? Only after that person has done a heinous crime and charged and maybe even went to fucking prison for it can ICE actually move in to deport that person after going through a secondary court process with the proper immigration authorities. Okay? I don't think people who are just simply living in Los Angeles and not doing anything, not harming anybody, okay? I don't think those people should be fucking arrested and deported. They have families here. They've been working here. They should get proper fucking paperwork. You just said ICE shouldn't exist, though. Yes, ICE shouldn't exist. ICE didn't exist before 9/11. It was perfectly fine. It wasn't like there was mass amounts of undocumented crimes that were taking place on U.S. soil non-fucking stop when ICE didn't exist. It's bullshit. It was additional pork. It was an agency that did not need to fucking exist. Pre-9/11, it was called INS. Okay? And guess what? You know, here's another great testament to how undocumented migrants don't actually do fucking crimes. Okay? Reagan amnesty. Reagan offered amnesty to a fuck ton of undocumented migrants. What happened? Did they all just go, oh, yeah, thank God we have the full control over the law enforcement now. Like we can do all the crimes possible. Hell yeah, let's do crimes now. Is that what happened? It's insane. Like Britney Spears' iconic sophomore album, Oops, I Did It Again, is 3 years older than ICE. Yes. Nintendo GameCube is older than ICE, by the way. ICE can still be abolished. It's true. My dad came into USA at 82 at 14. Luckily, he got amnesty. Yeah, also, amnesty still is a popular alternative, a more popular alternative to mass deportations. No one ever talks about it, but amnesty, mass conditional amnesty, okay, is significantly more popular than motherfucking mass deportations. It's not only more popular, but it is quite literally beneficial for American taxes, for American commerce. It is literally better to actually offer conditional amnesty to every undocumented migrant living on U.S. soil that hasn't done a heinous fucking crime or whatever, that has been living here for an extended period of time, that have lives here. It's so crazy. I have not yielded from this position even a little bit in the last 12 years that I've been a fucking professional political commentator. And it feels like every single day that passes, that becomes less likely of an alternative, regardless of the fact that it's still more popular than mass deportations. Bitch, what rules? It is an unjustifiable rule to begin with. And Reagan fucking did it too. What do you mean? Ronald Reagan did it. Shut the fuck up.
To the country.
Yeah, and you just mentioned the president. One thing that he has been saying today is that the protesters that we're seeing, the agitators, the people who are causing violence, are paid. We don't have any evidence of that, but it is something that he's been saying repeatedly for the last several days. And today I want you to play.
But why is it unjustified? Okay, good question. Kevin Lowe Maxta. When did your family come here? I know your ass ain't Native American. When the fuck did your stupid ass parents come here? When? How many generations are you removed from not being on the American continent? If you say you're not okay, well, then suck my cock. I hope you never are allowed to enter this fucking country. Nope, sorry. No, from fucking foreigners, okay? Not gonna hear from dumb fuck foreigners LARPing as American hogs and hogettes when I have to deal with the homegrown domestic terror here on a daily fucking basis. There's nothing more disgusting than fucking Canadian LARPers that come in here and they're like, oh, eh? Oh, I don't know, eh? What are we supposed to do? Don't you know? I love MAGA. Get the fuck out of here. Go be a nuisance in your own goddamn country. Okay? The people who here illegally are foreigners. Hey, dumb fuck. The people here illegally are not foreigners after they fucking live on U.S. soil for an extended period of time. Okay? Dumb fuck foreigners. I mean, yeah, ship them all out. You're correct. Yes, they are. Listen, just because you crawled out of your disgusting mother's pussy in a fucking American zip code does not give you extra fucking clout here, okay? That's all you did. You're still a fucking waste of space. I would rather deport your stupid ass, okay, to bring in 10 Guatemalans any fucking day of the week. You don't know how to do anything. You don't know your ass from your elbow. At least those motherfuckers, all they want to do is have a better life for themselves, okay? Ironic? Yeah, real ironic. You are a waste of space. You are a waste of energy. You are a waste of time, okay? Those dudes are trekking through insane conditions to be able to fucking get here for the promise of a better life for themselves and their families, okay? They're being shipped out as we speak, so yeah, I know. Is that going to make your life better? Do you think your family won't celebrate when you inevitably do the deed? They will. You will liberate them from the crushing anchor that you have become around their neck. At a certain point, they thought you showed promise. They bred you, okay? They educated you, or at least tried to. And look what you have become. Trust me on this, okay? Trust me. They're being shipped out as we speak. Your life is not going to get better even if 20 million migrants are deported from this country. You will still be the same pathetic pussy who fucking cries endlessly that nobody wants to be around him, whose friends and family members no longer pick up the call, whose family literally lies to every single person that comes for Thanksgiving dinner when people ask, where is Aaron? And they say, oh, he's spending Thanksgiving elsewhere this year. Oh, that's interesting. He was spending Thanksgiving elsewhere last year, too. Meanwhile, you're upstairs masturbating to whatever fucking food porn you found, while on the second monitor you have your least favorite fucking Twitch streamer, and you're trying to jerk off with one hand and also type with the other in the chat of that Twitch streamer that you despise. You are a waste. Okay? You're a waste of air. Keep fantasizing about the government doing cruelty to people who don't deserve it and hoping that that will somehow elevate your position in society. It won't. Okay? Even if you fantasize about projections, yes, that's true. This is exactly my life. Yeah, you got me. Now listen. Ban for no reason law? What do you mean? If someone is fucking celebrating... If someone is celebrating migrant workers getting packed up and deported and shipped off to a fucking CCOT facility, and that hopefully makes them feel better about their fucking pathetic existence, that's not a ban for no reason. You're getting banned for being a dumbass white supremacist. I keep some of the pets in here at least so we can make fun of them, but there's only a certain level of like reactionary sentiment that I'll allow. He dislike you but not blame. What? I don't care if he likes me or dislikes me. Someone could love me in this chat. And if they were to come in here with that fucking energy, celebrating mass deportations, I'm gonna fucking ban them. And if someone actually chooses what I get to do in my own fucking community, I'll ban them too, bitch ass. I saw you on the news and decided to see what's up, and it's wild how much people lie about you. It's true. Be careful when you do the deed, it can be used out of context to say you're telling people to game delete. No, of course not. I mean, game delete, like a save file, yeah, maybe. I mean, when I say do the deed, I mean, you know, go take a shower, go to the gym, improve your life. You know, it's up to interpretation.
So many officers gives them two opportunities. One,
move out of the house finally.
Off the X of that symbolic target, the courthouse.
Touch grass. I never mean the other thing. I would never.
Curfew. The riots after the George.
Genuine question: Should Canadians get an opinion on this? No, everyone can have an opinion on this, but if it's a fucking right wing one, I'm gonna ban you just as I would fucking ban an annoying right wing hog that is like celebrating these kinds of fucking actions. You know what I mean? You're allowed to have an opinion. You just, depending on how you put that opinion out there in a chat like this, and depending on how angry I am in that moment, honestly.
25 officers in that area right
yeah,
now.
Why you ban me when I racist type shit?
Yeah. At midnight. And with
ICE, as Tom Homan said last night, these ICE arrests
acting ICE chief promises to neutralize LA rioters. Suck my dick.
Out of Los Angeles.
This protest is so left biased. Why don't they ask the government to get the documents if they have a job? Job equals support the country. Stopping ICE operations is not the solution in the first place. Brother, very carefully explain to you what's going on right now, and I hope like we can clear up some miscommunication and some confusion that you're clearly demonstrating. ICE agents are conducting raids at job sites. They're getting the information from the IRS because not only are these migrants working at places of, you know, places where they're participating in the flow of commerce, but they're also paying taxes. ICE knows where they live because the IRS knows where they live. The IRS knows how much they pay in taxes. The IRS knows where their place of business is, where their place of work is. ICE gets that information from the IRS and then uses that information to go conduct raids at job sites. Is this going to change your mind about why people are fucking frustrated and maybe, in your words, left biased? Considering that you seemingly also recognize it'd be fucking cruel and unusual to go after people who are simply working?
Donald Trump.
I await your response with bated breath. You've been following since 2023. Hopefully, we'll be able to reach you. Don't you need a social security number, which is given if you're a citizen? If not, how are they paying taxes? Just asking so I can educate myself to learn. Great question. Every single person that is not a U.S. citizen still gets a tax identification number, an ITIN. So if they do not have a social security, as obviously migrant workers do not, they get an ITN. They have some form of taxpayer identifier, because I think we all know the goddamn federal government is very bad at a lot of things, but the one thing that they will not skimp out on is collecting taxes.
Is sending in the troops, not to Ukraine, not to Iran, not even to Greenland.
What about Tel Aviv? Oh my God.
But to LA, Los Angeles, the second biggest city in the United States, to crack down on people protesting ICE raids on a Home Depot. Shocking, right? We should be shocked. No president has deployed the National Guard without the consent of a state governor since LBJ in 1965, 60 years ago. And Trump isn't just targeting LA for military deployment.
Well, we're going to have troops everywhere. We're not going to let this happen to our country.
So be shocked, but don't be surprised. This is who Trump is.
That's completely false. I own a business and you need to have an employee form filled out, and 90% of the time you need documentation to show you're a citizen. How do they pay taxes if they aren't citizens? Don't you need proper info to file taxes, etc.? Bro, I just literally told you the legal ways in which migrant workers that have either temporary protected status or are like awaiting their fucking court date for their permanent clearance will pay taxes. I gave you the actual identification. I gave you the actual individual taxpayer identification number. An ITIN is a 9-digit number the IRS issues if you need a U.S. taxpayer identification number for federal tax purposes but aren't eligible for a social security number. This is from obviously a biased fake website called irs.gov. Clearly, they're lying. Also, under normal circumstances, obviously, the IRS was supposed to keep this information. The Trump administration changed that in January 25, 2025. Literally, one of the first actions that they engaged in was to revoke the privacy of like IRS normally under normal circumstances is only allowed to give out private information to taxpayers with a warrant. It's supposed to be private information. Now they're giving it to the ICE agencies. Wait, what the fuck? He's not live. Why are you guys, bro? Why are y'all always lying, bro? Why are you all always lying? You are always lying to me. You do this every time. He's not live yet. Okay, that's why I was surprised that fucking CNN wasn't showing it.
There are easily thousands of people